This conference will
So
now be recorded.
about myself, my name is Suresh Pallapolu, guys, and I'm working as Azure Data Engineer in Microsoft, and as I'm Azure certified Azure Data Engineer, and I've completed many certifications and fundamentals data engineering certifications and all. And I have overall 10 plus years of IT experience. From past 3 years onwards, I'm working on Azure Data Engineering. Okay, so basically in Data Factory, Databricks, data flows, SQL databases, storage accounts, data lake, and all. This is my experience, my prior experience on big data. I worked as a big data developer, and my career starts with as a Java developer, and 2.5 years I worked in Java, and later on I shifted my career to big data. Almost 6 years I worked in big data environment like Apache Spark, Scala, Kafka, Cassandra, Solar, and all. And later on I shifted my career to data engineering. From past 3 years onwards, I worked for many projects, and started working on Microsoft from couple of months. And there this since the Microsoft Azure cloud, there are a lot of things. So as a Azure data engineer, if you are shifting your career from one stream to another stream, so currently, believe me, there are plenty of opportunities in Microsoft Azure, especially on data engineering side. And if you're working on tools like ETL tools or any admin support kind of work you are doing right now, and this is the right time you can shift your career to Microsoft Azure cloud. And since we have many services, so almost 6,000 plus services currently Microsoft Azure cloud is offering, but no need to learn all the services. As a Azure data engineer, you should be mainly focusing on Azure Data Factory, data flows, SQL databases, storage accounts, and all. And there is no prerequisites, guys. Since Azure Data Factory is a code free tool, you no need to write any code here. It's a kind of a drag and drop visual tool. Okay, and if you want to increase the there are many advantages. Believe me, currently whatever the ETL tools we have, like SSIS, data state jobs, Informatica jobs, all are currently shifting to Azure ADF service. Okay, so there are many advantages using Azure ADF services, still growing. Believe me, currently 30% of projects currently we are handling, still 70% of projects still in a pipeline. And there in future there are plenty of opportunities in Azure data engineering side. Okay, so if you want to discuss anything, please let me know right now. So whoever is going to interested in this Azure data engineering session, I'll add everyone to the group. Okay, please let me know initially only, guys. So this batch will continue. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, so you will gain in-depth knowledge, guys. So as a Microsoft engineer, so I'll be able to provide in-depth knowledge to everyone. So if any how do you load the data, extracting and loading and transforming the data, so you will get in-depth knowledge on Microsoft Azure data engineering side. And please let me know if you have any questions right now. I'll start from scratch. There is no prerequisites here, and everything I'll start from scratch. If you are not able to understand, please let me know, not in between the session. If you can ask your question in the chat, or after the class I'll give some time to for questions. You can ask me and I'll be able to resolve it. Even if you want to connect one-on-one, I'll be able to connect and I'll be able to resolve the issues. Okay, so any questions, guys? So somebody asked the question. Yeah, you can speak out, guys.
Yeah, the thing is like Suresh, so basically, SQL and PySpark is very much pretty hot tools, right? No, I mean pretty hot languages, right? So in the meanwhile session, I mean in this 45 days, so parallelly we can if you give some kind of tasks or assessments, it would be much helpful for us. Already I'm working on data engineer. I mean Azure data engineer only. I am also a certified data engineer associate. Recently, I have completed it. So basically, Databricks and SQL, I want to learn more and more.
Okay.
So it would be very helpful for me to, if you give some assessments, kind of assessments like that. That's it from my end.
Sure. May I know your name? Ram, right? Rama?
Vamsi. I'm working in
Okay,
TCS.
Vamshi, sure, definitely. Sure, Vamshi. Yeah, I'll definitely provide you that the real-time stuff, what you need, what you are expecting from my side, with respect to SQL, with respect to Databricks and all. And with respect to SQL, how do you are doing this transformations, and with respect to Databricks, how you are efficiently doing if you have huge volume of data using this PySpark and all. I'll be able to show you the real time as well. So how we did in real time, and that would be very helpful for you guys.
Great. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah, sounds good. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so let's get started. And
One question. So this is more of a
yeah,
Azure
please.
Data Factory or all other tools like the Databricks or Synapses and everything, or is it more ADF?
No, it's not more about only ADF. It's a combination of all these tools. So as a Azure data engineer, we should be able to aware data factory. In the data factory, we have data flows like a data lake, storage account, SQL databases, Databricks, and Synapse as well. So it's a combination of all these tools. And as a data engineer, we should be able to aware all these things now.
Okay,
So
thank you.
this course is completely on all these technologies. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So let's get started, guys. So before going to start an Azure data engineer, so many of you know as Azure data engineer what are the technologies we should be able to aware. I just mentioned, and in market you can see Azure DevOps engineer, Azure architects, okay, Azure business analysts, okay. So many positions, but as Azure data engineer, currently many openings, and we have plenty of opportunities on Azure data engineering side. So why we have plenty of opportunities are created now, okay. So we can discuss everything. And before going to start the cloud, Microsoft Azure cloud, and coming to Azure data engineering, what are all the prerequisites? So what is the Azure fundamentals, okay. So what is the drawbacks using the on-premises systems before going to move to the Azure cloud? We can discuss that. So here I'm going to represent one real-time scenario, and so that you guys have the complete understanding on this, why we are moving to Azure cloud, okay. So let me open. So for example, before anybody is aware the fundamentals of Azure cloud. Azure cloud is came into picture in 2010. Before Azure cloud, we have AWS cloud also there. It was released on 2006 around, okay. So before that we have Salesforce. There are many tools are there. So many people are using the PaaS services earlier before AWS cloud and Azure cloud. But at this point of time, what I'm going to explain is what is the fundamentals of cloud computing. Before going to move to the cloud, what is the fundamentals of cloud computing, why cloud computing, and what is the cloud computing, what is Azure, okay. So we can discuss everything. So in the next slide you can see, so before going to start, I'll give one real-time example on this. So if you want to start a new business, for in this screenshot you can see John, right? If you want to start a new business, so you start thinking about the web, one social networking website. So in this screenshot you can see John is going to create one any social networking website. He's very much interested to create an social networking websites, and he started thinking about, in the next slide he started thinking about the infrastructure is. So if you want to create a website, you need lot of things, right? So you need servers, you need storage to load the data, you need infrastructure team to maintain all your infrastructure part and everything, and the security. So the data security and everything you should be able to think about, right? So John is also doing the same. He start thinking about the storage, servers, security, infrastructure team, and everything. So to invest the amount on all these things, so there is a high setup cost to launch all these server, storage, infrastructure team, and security and all, right? So if you can see, there are a lot of challenges. So to high set up the cost to launch, more resources if business got successful. So for example, your business got successful and number of users are increased. So you need to increase your resources as well, right? You need to increase the servers, you need to increase the storage capacity, you need to increase your security levels, you need to increase your infrastructure team to maintain all this. So there are high setup costs to there is a capital expenditure, right? Before going to start your business, you need to invest so much of amount on infrastructure side, right? If business got success, again you need to increase that your resources, you need to provide the elasticity, scalability and everything, you need to provide it, right? So we can discuss what this elasticity, what is this scalability and everything going forward. And John finally he think about this high setup cost and more resources business got. There are a lot of challenges here, right? And so one of product related, I mean IT specialist. So he contacted IT specialist and he discussed everything about his business and to Angela, and Angela suggested here the cloud. Okay, so she knows everything and she suggested cloud instead of on-premises. So what is the difference between on-premises and cloud? Okay, what is the advantage of using the cloud? She explained to John. And so with respect to on-premises data centers, right? So higher upfront cost of setup. If you are working in any companies, they are huge data centers. If you can see Microsoft data center, they are very, very large data centers. So even in on-premises data centers, you need to focus on higher upfront cost of setup. You need to create your own infrastructure for your organization, right? That is higher upfront cost is involved for setup and everything. And with respect to cloud, it's a pay as you go model. There is no upfront cost is involved. So remember guys, whatever the services you are going to acquire from the Microsoft Azure cloud, you can be able to pay only for those services. Okay, and I mean there are many advantages. Maybe once we started working on data factory, Databricks, I'm going to explain how Microsoft is charged and what exactly the advantages of using these services and all. And with respect to on-premises data center, there is, you need to focus on this, no automatic updates, you need to focus on this updates and everything. And there is a automatic software updates. Okay, in cloud you no need to focusing on this automatic updates and all what is happening and everything. But with respect to on-premises data centers, so there are some updates, Windows updates and everything you need to take in care. And there are lack of flexibility to upgrade. For example, what is this lack of flexibility to upgrade? If you want to migrate, if you want to upgrade your SQL server from 10.1 to 10.2, okay, so there you can be able to you need to manually upgrade that SQL server, right? So with respect to cloud, within a few clicks you can be able to upgrade your current SQL version to the higher version. Okay, and with respect to on-premises, appoint dedicated staff for data centers. Okay, appoint dedicated staff for data center, guys. Okay, so if you can see any data centers, on-premises data center in your companies, there are many people are working at infrastructure side, right? So to maintain all these data centers, and they need they are available in that data centers. Okay, we have their separate rooms. And I mean, and I think, I mean, many people they don't have flexibility to go into that data center rooms. Only that infrastructure guys, they can enter and they can be able to see what is happening inside. And maintenance and everything you need to take in care. Okay, there is no staff is required to maintain the data center, since cloud service provider will maintain the data centers. Okay, so what is this data centers? Inside the data center we have number of servers. So if you can see, let me show you that image of Microsoft Azure cloud data center, so that you have some understanding on that. Data can be accessed from the remote, so you can be able to, cannot be accessed from the remote. So if you want to access your data anywhere, you need to use the cloud. If you have the internet, guys, remember, if you have the internet, you can be able to access from anywhere. Okay, you can access from the anywhere if you are using the cloud. Okay, this is the benefits of using the cloud, and these are all drawbacks we have with while using the on-premises data centers. Okay, so finally, after explaining all these differences between on-premises to cloud, and John is very happy. Okay, and he started working, I mean exploring on the cloud side, and what are all the models we have, and what exactly the cloud computing, and what types of cloud computing we have, and what we have, what are all the cloud services. So for every cloud service providers offering these services. Okay, so we have cloud services like IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, so we can discuss everything. And we have types of cloud computing. We have public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So what is the public cloud? So all this Microsoft Azure cloud, AWS cloud, we have many clouds, guys. We have let me explain this. What are all the cloud service providers we have in the current market? CSPs, cloud service providers. Like we have ISPs, right? Internet service providers. Like we have CSPs as well. And cloud service providers, we have Azure cloud, we have AWS cloud. Okay, and we have Alibaba. So these are all different cloud service providers. Okay, we have Google cloud, we have IBM cloud, we have Oracle cloud. Okay, so we have different cloud service providers. So currently in industry, you can see most of the projects are in these environments. So these cloud service providers are most of the projects we have. And when compared to three, AWS and Azure cloud taking more space here, and almost 70% of the projects are in Microsoft Azure cloud and AWS cloud. So these are all different cloud service providers we have in the current market. Okay, so when it comes to types of cloud computing, so what is this public cloud? What are all these cloud service providers are comes under the public cloud? What is this private cloud and hybrid cloud? So three types of cloud computing. And when it comes to public cloud, AWS cloud, we have whatever I have discussed now: Azure cloud, AWS cloud, we have IBM cloud, Oracle cloud. All are public cloud service providers. You can be able to access anywhere if you have the internet. Okay, so in a company, so I want to start a new company. So I cannot invest so much of investment on my infrastructure side. I don't have that much money. I can be able to go to any of my cloud. For example, if I can go to Azure cloud, I can be able to acquire whatever the resources I want. Okay, for example, for infrastructure side, I need so and so virtual machines and everything, right? So whatever I need, storage, memory, security, and everything, I can be able to fetch from the cloud. Okay, so in the public cloud, these are all the examples: Microsoft Azure, AWS cloud, IBM, Oracle. All these are comes under public cloud. When it comes to private cloud, so maybe sometimes what will happen, organizations can be able to acquire private cloud is nothing but on premises. Okay, so for example, if you start working on many companies like MNC or any other companies, they have their own data centers, right? They have their own infrastructure from their on premises companies on premises, right? So companies may use this public cloud environment, and they may use this few services are from the private cloud as well, guys. Remember this. So when I am explaining the integration runtime concept in ADF, so you can understand what is the difference between the private cloud and public cloud. Clearly understand this. We have the pictorial representation for this, so I will be able to explain clearly what is the difference between the public cloud and private cloud. And with respect to hybrid cloud, companies may use both. Okay, hybrid cloud in the sense it's a combination of both and public and private cloud. So few services are they are acquiring from the public cloud, and few services are from private cloud. Private cloud in the sense it's on premises. Public cloud in the sense it may be Azure cloud, um, and AWS cloud, and these are all the examples of public cloud. So you can be able to take the services from the public cloud, and you can be able to take the services from the private cloud as well. This is called it as a hybrid cloud. It's a combination of public plus private cloud. Okay, for any cloud service providers, we have these cloud services, guys. So we have IaaS, we have PaaS, we have SaaS. So IaaS in the sense infrastructure as a service, and PaaS in the sense platform as a service, SaaS in the sense software as a service. So what these services? So why every cloud services they are offering IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS? So when it comes to IaaS, guys, so we have, for example, if you are going to start a new project, okay, if you want to start a new website, you need all the infrastructure. As I mentioned previously, you need all this, right? You need servers, you need storage, memory, security, infrastructure team, networking, and everything you need, right? So for that, so IaaS in the sense all virtual machines, virtual networks, and we have storage, memory, and we have servers. All these are comes under IaaS services. Okay, infrastructure as a service. Okay, so all the infrastructure services are comes under IaaS module. And if you are expecting from Microsoft Cloud only IaaS, so Microsoft will be able to provide all virtual machines. You can be able to use it, and based on that usage, Microsoft can be able to charge, and it's a pay as you go model. There is no upfront cost is involved here. Okay, so whatever the services you are going to use in the cloud, and only Microsoft will be able to charge only those services. Okay, and if you can go to the internal how Microsoft will be able to charge, I'll be able to share you in-depth analysis on that while explaining the Azure Data Factory. Okay, and many organizations, many businesses currently they are using the PaaS, platform as a service, and they no need to I mean focusing on upgrading the servers. For example, I want to load my data, I want to move my data from my on-premises like a SQL server or Oracle server to cloud. Okay, if I want to move the data from my on-premises to cloud, I need to focusing on that where I want to load the data in the cloud. I want to load the data, for example, in a SQL database, okay, Azure SQL database. For that, I need to upgrade the servers. I need to do patching and everything. I need to take a maintenance and everything. I need to be able to take care. If I can acquire only the IaaS services, so Microsoft will not be able to provide all maintenance, patching, everything. They cannot able to provide it. If you can acquire PaaS services, Microsoft would be able to take care all these SQL upgradations, patching, maintenance, everything would be able to taken care by Microsoft. Availability and redundancy, replication, everything would be able to taken care Microsoft. That you no need to worry about your data. Okay, you need to focusing on your business logic. That's it. Okay, that is the reason many companies, guys, remember they are using this PaaS services from Microsoft Azure Cloud. Okay, so there are few companies who has their infrastructure is ready, already have their infrastructure in their company on premises. They can be able to acquire this IaaS services. And many companies who start the project new, and who starts the new website or anything, they want to acquire this PaaS services. They don't want to focusing on all their infrastructure, all the virtual machines, all storage, memory, networking, security, and all. They don't want to focus on all these things. They want to focus on their business logic instead of focusing on their infrastructure and everything. Okay, and even if business grows, so ADF is also comes under PaaS service. So ADF is a platform as a service. So you no need to focusing on what is happening inside, I mean infrastructure side. You can be able to focusing on your business logic and moving data from source to destination. Okay, so that is the reason many organizations, many businesses, they are acquiring this PaaS services from the cloud service providers. Okay, and SaaS in the sense software as a service. So there are some examples, guys. PaaS in the sense Azure SQL, we have app services like function apps, logic apps, the ADF, all these are comes under PaaS services. And when it comes to SaaS, software as a service, we have so we have Outlook, Office 365. Okay, you can be able to install and you can be able to use it, right? And this is they are comes under SaaS, software as a service. Okay, so when it comes to one real-time example on these scenarios, cloud services, what Microsoft is offering, if you want to buy a flat, guys, from any real estate person, And what he will what he will be able to give you, he will be able to provide the flat, right? That's it, right? And he will divide all the he will provide you the restroom, he will provide bedroom and kitchen room, one hall, and all these things he can provide you, right? So but whatever the needs, for example, you need TV, you need washing machine, you need kitchen items, you need freeze, all these things you have to purchase your own, right? So like this, Microsoft Azure Cloud also, they will be able to provide this IaaS in the sense just flat. My owner will give the flat, that's it. If you need any items for your daily needs, you need to purchase that, right? That is comes under IaaS. And platform as a service, in the sense, if you can go to any studio room, any fully furnished flat, and owner will provide you along with the flat all the items, right? So that is comes under PaaS, platform as a service. So owner will provide you a TV, owner will provide you the gas, owner will provide you fridge and everything, right? So sofa sets and everything he will provide you. And these are the, I mean studio room and fully furnished flat comes under platform as a service. But customizations, so what is going to happen with respect to PaaS services is, for example, owner provided all these things, but if you want to customize, so owner provided some Samsung TV, you want some plasma Sony TV you want, so owner will not provide you, right? So you need to change those things, and you need to focusing on that, you need to upgrade that things, right? So even in Microsoft Azure Cloud also, you can be able to, if you want, for example, PaaS services, we have, you install something. Okay, so with respect to real-time examples, guys, so maybe once we started the idea of what is PaaS services, and internally what is going to happen, so everything you can be able to understand. But with respect to this PaaS services, currently we have Azure SQL, Azure App Services, ADF is one service that comes under PaaS services. So generally, you no need to focusing on the infrastructure side. So you can be able to focusing on your business. Okay, so you want to move the data from your on-premises to cloud, you can be able to use this PaaS service like ADF service. You can be able to move easily. You just create one pipeline and you can be able to extract the data, transform and move the data. Okay, so one real-time example I'll be able to show you in a portal. So what is PaaS services, and how we are going to handle this PaaS services, okay, without focusing on their infrastructure and everything. So once I started creating ADF service, you can clearly understand these services. Okay, so now no need to worry about these things, what is happening inside. So now you need to focusing on this, what are all IaaS, if you can acquire, if you can acquire the resources from Microsoft Azure, what are all the services Microsoft Azure Cloud will provide you, and with respect to PaaS, what are all the services Microsoft Azure provide you, with respect to SaaS, everything we can discuss practically, no need to worry now, guys. Okay, and these are all the services we have. And if you know more about the private cloud and public cloud, so I'll share this document to everyone, so you can be able to go through this. Okay, so what is the difference between public cloud, private cloud and hybrid cloud? So I'll share this. And you can see, guys, IaaS, so infrastructure as a service, so servers and storage, networking, firewall, security, and a data center, physical plant or building, all these are comes under infrastructure as a service. Okay, these are all some icons I have placed here, so just for your understanding. And when it comes to PaaS, platform as a service, development tools, database management, business analytics, operating system, along with that this infrastructure also, if you can acquire, if you can expect PaaS services from Microsoft Azure Cloud, Microsoft Azure Cloud will be able to provide all these things for you. Okay, you can be able to focus on your business logic, remember this, guys. Okay, so what this development tools we have, Azure ADF is a tool, development tool, where you are extracting, transforming and loading the data, and we will see what this ADF service in depth in going forward. And this is a SaaS, software as a service, like hosted applications or apps, So whatever we have, the apps, Outlook, okay, Office 365, all these are comes under software as a service. So these are all some of the examples, okay, for all these services. So we have operating systems, all are comes under PaaS only, platform as a service. Okay. So as I mentioned, we have different cloud service providers. We have Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud, Google Cloud, and AWS Cloud. Okay. So we can discuss what is Azure, guys. So what is the definition? What is Azure? We will see. Okay. So Azure is a cloud computing service, okay, created by Microsoft, where users can create a servers, storage systems, databases, etc. So if you want to start a project, right, you need all the services. So you need servers, you need storage systems, you need database and everything, right? So using an online portal, so using an Azure web portal, you will be able to create the resources or create the services whatever you want for your project, right? If you have internet, you can be able to connect to your web portal, Azure web portal, and you will be able to create all the services in Azure cloud. Okay. So finally, John is very happy, and he's going to create all the resources what he wants for his social networking website, and I start creating all the resources, right? See how this is faced now. So what exactly the advantage? Why many people are shifting to Azure cloud? So currently, you can see this 95% of Fortune 500 companies are using Azure, and $1 billion investment per year to protect from their cyber threats, and fastest growing cloud service provider and second largest market share in the cloud market. And start with a Azure free account and later use the pay as you go model. Currently, if you want to use Azure cloud, and you can be able to create one free account, guys, 1 month free trial. There are you can be able to play around in 1 month. Microsoft Azure will provide $200, okay, for you, and you can be able to do whatever you want in $200 credit. Okay, $200 in the sense that is 13,300 credits you can be able to utilize for 1 month. There are few services are free for 12 months. There are few services are free for lifelong. So I'll be able to show you what are all the services are free for 1 month, what are all the services are free for 12 months, what are all the services for lifelong. So these are all some credits from Microsoft, and we will see what is this Azure Data Factory, what is the architecture of Azure Data Factory, why many companies are using Azure Data Factory for their data integration tool, and we'll be able to discuss all these things. So before going to Azure Data Factory, I just want to open the portal, and I want to explain this how you want to create Azure free account, and what are all the services are free, and what are all the services are free for lifelong. Everything we'll be able to discuss once we log into Azure portal, guys. Okay, let me log into the Azure portal. Okay, so this is a portal, guys. This is a web page. Okay, so this is a front home page, and you can see all the Azure services here, and we have many Azure services. And before going to the services, I'm going to explain these icons. And here is the search, guys. So search in the sense, if you want to see any subscription, storage account, whatever the services you are created for your application, you can come here and you can be able to search here. Okay, so if you want to create a new services, I'll be able to show you how you need to create a new services. So before going to create a new services, and what are all the services we have in Azure cloud, and I'll be able to explain some icons here. So here you can be able to see, and this is a cloud shell, guys. Okay, so cloud shell in the sense, if you want to create these resources using a bash or PowerShell commands, you can be able to use this bash or PowerShell commands, and you can be able to create the resources whatever you want. Okay, and we have another option, and by clicking on bash, you can go to the bash shell, by clicking on PowerShell, you can be able to use the PowerShell behavior. Instead of this UI, you can be able to use command based also, bash and PowerShell also, for creating these resources for your project. Okay, so UI is simple when compared to bash and PowerShell. Many people are coming from different backgrounds like Linux, okay, scripting. So if you are interested, you can be able to automate the things using the PowerShell and bash shell as well, and you can automate for creating these resources for your project using this bash and PowerShell. Okay, and when it comes to this directories plus subscriptions, so generally in real time you may work in different subscriptions. So what is this subscription? And we will see, guys, we'll see all these things, so I'll show you. So anything if you want to do in Azure cloud, you need subscription. Okay, so inside the subscription only you need to create this all the services whatever you want. So you need subscriptions, you need resource groups. Okay, at a high level I'll be able to explain, guys. I mean, in a high level, what is the hierarchy we need to follow in Azure cloud. So we will see all those things. Okay, now at this point of time, just remember we have this subscriptions. Okay, so currently see we have 20 plus subscriptions, but in your free trial only one subscription, that is free trial subscription, you can see, guys. Okay, so now since I am working in real time, so you can see this my company email ID. You can see your client related email IDs. So here, so here these are all the notifications. For example, in your free trial, how much amount you have utilized till now, since they are providing 13,300 rupees, right? So 300 credits we can call it as, and how much you have utilized and how much is remaining and everything, all the notifications you can be able to see here. And this is all settings. So we have, if you want to change the language, for example, if I want to change my language English to some other language, there are multi-language, it supports multiple languages, so you can be able to use any other languages, so based on the region. And here different dashboards, views, so appearance, so how the appearance should be, no need, so we'll be able to use the default view only. So my information, so this is my email address and everything, and directories plus subscriptions. And this is for help. If you want any help from the Microsoft, if you want to create any incident, any ticket to Microsoft will be able to respond even if you are in a free trial, guys. Believe me, even if you are in a free trial also, if you can create any request to Microsoft will be able to call you and they'll be able to respond to your ticket. Okay, and if you want to send an any, you just click on this helpless support and you can be able to provide all the required information what you are expecting from the Microsoft. Okay, and this is the feedback, guys. This is icon for feedback. If you want to send a feedback to Microsoft, for example, if you are using ADF service, okay, to move your data from source to destination, you want to send some feedback to Microsoft, you can be able to send either positive or a negative. Microsoft will positively respond that, and they'll be able to reply to your email as well. Okay, so these are all the settings. Okay, you have, and we have discussed all these things. So these are all the services I have created for previous batches, not so if you are creating a free trial, you cannot able to see all these services, guys. Okay, once you started exploring this portal, you get to know all these things. And if you are in a free trial, once you created a free trial, you cannot able to see all these services. You need to start creating the services from here, clicking on home, and you can just click on create resource, and you can be able to create the resources. And here we have the multiple options to create the services. Here also I can be able to create services, and here also I can be able to create the services whatever I want for my project. Okay, so in this you can see create a resource. If I want to create Azure Data Factory resource, I can be able to click on this create resource and I can create it. So in left side you can see 3 lines, right? You just click on these 3 lines and you can be able to create a resources whatever you want for your project. So it is still loading. So see here.
So one question, sir. Sir, do we require any Microsoft account kind of?
Yes, we need to create a Microsoft account, a Microsoft free account. I'll be able to show you guys maybe in next session how
Okay.
you create this free account and all, so that you can practice all these things whatever I'm going to explain daily. So you need to practice on your Azure free account. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So how you are going to create that free account, tomorrow session I'll be able to explain from scratch, guys. So now I just want to explain these services and all. So you can see, guys, almost we have this is the dashboard and this is a home page. So now you are into so this is home page. When I click on this is a home page. If you want to create any new resources, you can just click on this and you can be able to create the resource whatever you want. For example, you want to create data factories. So for creating the data factories, you are not seeing anything here, right? So what you need to do, you need to go to the corresponding directories. Okay. And for example, here I want to create a storage accounts or SQL databases and virtual machines, whatever you want, you can be able to create it. And integrations, right? So what are all the services that comes under integration? So in the integrations, I can see here the data factory, right? So if I want to create a data factory resource, I can be able to just click on this data factory. I can be able to create this service for my project. So like this, so there are multiple groups we have. AI plus machine learning, we have analytics, we have blockchain and compute. So what are all the services that comes under compute? There are multiple groups. So if you want to see what these all the groups and what are all the comes under each and every group. So let's see what are all the services are comes under all the services. Just clicking on this all the services, you can see what are all the services Microsoft Cloud is offering for us. So this is a dashboard. Dashboard, nothing else. It's a dashboard where you can be able to see all the resources, whatever you created. Okay. And click on all the services. What is Microsoft? All the services. What is offering? So here you can be able to see by clicking on all the services. So these many services we have. Okay. So based on our requirement, you can be able to utilize the services, but we can be able to discuss what is the subscriptions, management groups, resource groups, and everything. What is the resources and what is the hierarchy? We can discuss everything. So when it comes to management groups, okay. So when you're starting a project, guys, any new project, one of your client maybe, for example, in my client, I worked for under Chevron earlier. So Chevron is one of the client. So management group in the sense Chevron, guys. Okay. So let me explain in Notepad. So we have management groups. Okay. Chevron is our management. Okay. And now Microsoft. Okay. These are all some management group. Under management group, we have different subscriptions, guys. What is subscription? Subscription is nothing but a logical unit, okay, where we need to divide our business functions. For example, in under my client, under my Chevron or Microsoft, we have different business functions. We have supply and trading is one business function. Okay, supply and trading. Okay, we have sales and product management. Okay, we have HR is one business function. So these are all finance. So these are all different business functions in real time, guys. Supply and trading is one business function, sales and product management is another business function, and HR is one business function, finance is one business function. So in real time, for each business function, we are going to create a separate subscriptions. Okay, for example, supply and trading, we have a subscription T216 supply and trading business function. Okay, SNT, we name it as SNT T216. For development, we have separate subscription. For production, we have separate subscriptions in real time. Okay, so you can see these are all different business functions. For each business function, we have a separate subscriptions, and inside the subscriptions, we have the resource groups. Okay, resource groups, for example, guys, if you can go to any e-commerce website like from Amazon or for Flipkart or any Snapdeal, for any for any e-commerce websites, if you want to purchase anything, for example, you purchase a phone, so how they will keep it your phone? They'll keep it in a container and they will give it to you, right? Like this, whatever the resources you are going to create in real time, for example, ADF is a resource, right? ADF is a service you want to keep inside the resource group. Okay, so whatever the resources we are going to create inside the Azure, so you will be able to keep everything in the subscriptions under the resource groups. You will be able to create these resources. So maybe once I started creating these resources, you should be able to have the complete picture on this. So this is kind of a theoretical knowledge, guys. Once we started exploring all these things in a real time, in a practical scenarios, we should be able to understand what this resources, what this resource groups. Okay, resource group is a logical grouping of units where you need to keep all these resources inside the resource groups. So maybe once you started creating practically in Azure portal, you should have the complete picture on these things. Okay, so we'll be able to start one by one. Subscriptions, what is the subscription, and we'll be able to discuss everything. So before going that, subscriptions, so we have these subscriptions, these many services Microsoft is currently offering. And under the compute, we have virtual machines, virtual networks, function apps, Kubernetes services, so networking. So you can come here and you can see all the services Microsoft is offering. So you can just check the storage accounts, web, mobile. For each category, for under the mobile we have app services, notification hubs, power platform, containers, Kubernetes services for deployment. There are many things, guys. Cosmos DB. These many databases we have in Azure Cloud, Cosmos DB, and we have Azure SQL databases. So you can be able to use these services. So based on your requirement, and Azure Databricks is comes under analytics. Okay, Data Factories also comes under analytics. So these are all the services is currently offering. Microsoft is offering. So let's discuss what is subscriptions, and let's go in detail about the subscriptions. Go to the subscriptions, just click on the subscriptions. And in a subscription, you can see the many subscriptions which I'm currently working. But in real time, maybe in your project also, you may work on multiple subscriptions. But one of the subscription currently I'm working, it's assigned to my name. So we have many subscriptions, guys. Currently, you can see here these many subscriptions you have, and this is one of the subscription, and I have the complete access on this subscription. I can do anything in this subscription. Once you created a free account, so maybe in tomorrow session I'll be able to show you for a free trial. You can see the subscription, free trial subscription. Under this subscription, you can see we have a overview tab, and overview in the sense these are all some essential details related to the subscription. This is a subscription ID, this is a directory, my role, current role, what level of access you have, and this is the offer. Okay, and Microsoft Azure internal consumption, and the billing period, current billing period also you can be able to see, and the currency and everything you can be able to see it. So all this comes under the essential details related to the subscription. If you want to cancel your subscription, you can be able to cancel this. If you want to rename this subscription, you can be able to rename and transfer the billing ownership to some other person also, you can be able to transfer. And if you want to send any feedback, you can be able to send a feedback to Microsoft. And this is the activity log. Activity log in the sense whatever you are going to perform inside the subscription, everything would be logged here. Okay, so this is for a time span, last 6 hours log data, last 24 hours, last week, last 2 weeks data, last month. By clicking on custom, you can be able to see last 45 days log files. Whatever you are going to create inside the subscriptions, everything would be logged, guys. Okay, so by default it is last 6 hours. And if I want to see last 24 hours or last week log, if I can click on apply, I can be able to see all the log data. See, whatever I am going to perform inside the subscription, everything would be logged. Sometimes what will happen in real time if somebody deleted any resource for your project, so you can come here and you can see whoever is deleted your resource. Okay, so you can see the event initiated by their email ID and everything, you can see it. And this is an access control. In real time, if you want to see what level of access you have, you can just click on view my access and you can see what level of access you have. So check access, what level of access you have, and you can be able to use this here. You can see in real time there are many options. Right now we have the admin access, but in real time, based on your name and based on your email address, what level of access, I mean, what are all the resources you have access, and what are all the resources, what level of access you have, and everything you can see by clicking, by providing your name or email address. And these are all some check access. You just click on this view my access, and you can see what level of access you have uh, currently. In real time also you can see what level of access you have. Service administrator, okay, I can do anything. So in real time, if you want to create any pipelines and everything, you need contributor access. That we will see everything, guys. Okay, going forward, aware all these things. Role assignments. So these are all some role assignments. Don't confuse all these things, guys. These are all some access related one. Okay, so these are all the accesses we can discuss one by one. And we have many roles currently. We have owner will have the total access. He can provide you the access in real time. And contributor access, if you want to create any pipelines in ADF service, somebody in owner will provide the contributor access to you, and so that you can be able to create the resources whatever you want, and create a pipelines and everything. A reader access, suppose if you are working on a maybe in a support environment, you don't want to change the existing pipelines, you want to see the pipelines, and you don't want to do anything with out of that, they can be able to provide only the reader access in the cases. Okay, like this we have many cases. So in real time you may assign multiple role assignments, add role assignments, and you'll see all these things, guys, going forward, how you need to provide all these things. And the tax in the sense we'll be able to provide based billing purpose, we'll be able to create this tax. So Microsoft will be able to charge instead of on single resource, they will be able to charge it on resource group and resources level, guys. You can just mention one, provide the tag name and value, and here you can be able to see tags are name value pairs. Okay, name and value pairs that enable you to categorize the resources and view consolidated billing by applying the same tag to multiple resources and resource groups. So this same tag will be able to apply to the multiple tags and multiple resources and resource groups. And tag names are case insensitive, and value are case sensitive. Okay, this is case insensitive and this is a case sensitive, guys. Okay, so these are all some tax related information. We have diagnosis, solving the problems. If any issues with respect to subscriptions, we are not going to use this. Events also not going to use. Cost analysis not required, all these things, guys. Cost analysis in the sense if you want to see for each resource how much Microsoft is charging, and you'll be able to send some cost alerts as well. You can clearly see how much Microsoft is charging for each cost, for each resource, and some budgets, advisory recommendations. So all these things, these are all the things are not required, guys. If you want to if you want to check since you are in a free trial, right? So if you want to check how much Microsoft is charging for your services, okay, so see here, monthly budget is $400 per month, and forecast $31, actual cost is $21. So for each resource level, if you want to see, you can see cost by resource. Just click on cost by resource, and even in your free trial also you can see all these options, guys. You can see Microsoft how much they are charging for storage, how much they are charging for ADF, and how much they are charging for SQL, and everything. You can come here and you can see. Okay, And if you want to, for example, your budget is $400. If your budget costs $400, you can send an alert also, cost alerts. Okay. So these are all some budgets and cost related information you have. If you want to explore more on this, you can come here and you can see it. And there are some advisory recommendations as well to reduce the cost. And these are all some resource groups, resources what we have. So we are going to use this resource groups and resources. So you can see here, there are some resource groups I already created for previous batches. And these are all the resources what we have created. Okay, we have many resources we have created for previous batches. So preview features, so users plus codes, policies, what we have. And so once we started exploring the services, you get to know all these things. What is the resource providers? So resource provider permissions. So you get to know all these things, guys. So this is subscriptions. So under the subscriptions, we have the resource groups and resources. See, resource groups and resources. This is important again, resource groups and resources. So what are all the resource groups we have? What are all the resource groups, resources we have under the subscription? Everything you can see here. Okay. So in tomorrow's session, I'm going to explain you about Azure Data Factory and what is Azure Data Factory and why Azure Data Factory is, and how do we create this resource, Azure Data Factory resource, and what is the advantage of using Azure Data Factory and what is the architecture of Azure Data Factory, and everything tomorrow I'll show you that clearly, guys, so that you have complete picture on Azure Data Factory. And so as I mentioned, Azure Data Factory is a first party citizens of Azure Cloud, guys. Okay, so many companies, many businesses, they are currently shifting their applications to Azure Cloud. Okay, in tomorrow's session, I'm going to explain this architecture, what is Azure Data Factory and what is the Azure Data Factory architecture. Okay, clearly you can understand in tomorrow's session what we are going to do in Azure data engineering. Okay. So any questions, guys, till now? Please let me know. If you are not able to understand, please let me know. I'll connect one-on-one. So you can be able to explain me that what is the issue you're facing. So daily we are practicing sessions, guys. So daily practical sessions we have. And if you face any issues, you can connect with me and we'll be able to discuss on that.
So tomorrow you are going to be, you are going to show the self-hosted thing, right? On-premise data thing. Correct.
Yes, of course. We'll be able to connect to this self-hosted integration runtime if you want to move your data from any on-premises systems, because this is the approach you need to follow, right? These are all the
Correct.
scenarios I have to explain. So once you started working in real time, so you should not be afraid on these things, right? So whatever we are doing in real time, so I'll show you everything, guys. So we'll create this self-hosted integration runtime either in on-premises network, and you can be able to create this in virtual networks as well. And there are multiple things here, guys. Integration runtime we have. If you are not using auto resolve integration runtime, you can be able to create your own integration runtime if you want to change your location. Okay, so there are multiple things are associated with this integration runtime concept. This is very important concept. And there are many. We have currently we have ADF version 2 we are using. We have version 1 also there, but currently version 1 is deprecated. There are many disadvantages in version 1, and many things are invented in Azure Data Factory version 2, like control flow activities, like monitoring activities. One of the biggest feature they involved in Azure Data Factory version 2, that is SSIS package execution in ADF version 2, guys. So many of you coming from the different MSBI background, Microsoft Business Intelligence, and you want to run your SSIS packages in ADF, you can directly run in ADF. You can use this serverless infrastructure and monitoring capable scaling and
Are you going to cover that? How do we lift the packages to the
again,
cloud?
if you want to run your SSIS packages,
the lift and shift mechanism, or if you want to change your SSIS packages in ADF, and you can be able to do that. Yeah, go ahead guys, any questions?
So are you going to cover that? Like, how do we take the packages to the cloud?
Yes, of course. So how do
Okay.
we run this? I'll be able to show you if you want how do we run this SSIS packages and in ADF. That way you can understand what is this serverless. So serverless in the sense, guys, we don't want to, for example, with the auto resolve integration runtime, by default, whenever you're trying to create an Azure Data Factory resource, you no need to install any servers here, right? Everything would be able to take care Microsoft Azure. It's a serverless infrastructure. So if you, for example, if you're working in a .NET Java based applications, if you want to deploy your applications, you need to, maybe you need to use WebLogic as an application server, JBoss or Apache Tomcat. You need to deploy your applications in a servers. Since it is ADF is a serverless infrastructure, you no need to install any servers. It will automatically do, Microsoft will be able to automatically internally will be able to take care all this infrastructure and everything. You no need to worry about your underlying infrastructure, what is happening. So since I'm moving data from my on-premises to cloud, and what are all the security measures I have to take care, you no need to worry about all these things, guys. Okay, so if you can install this self-hosted integration runtime in a private network or any virtual networks, since it is a secure way of connecting, either you can be able to install your on-premises virtual machines in your on-premises network or in a virtual network, and you can be able to install your self-hosted integration runtime. Okay, based on your volume of data, you will be able to increase the number of nodes. It supports up to 4 nodes for each and every virtual machine. Based on the volume of data, you can be able to increase this nodes, guys. Okay, and remember, yeah,
One question, sir. Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah,
The
no
thing
problem.
is like, it would be very helpful for, I mean, for us to understand, if you give some curriculum, timetable, I mean.
Definitely, guys, I'll share this curriculum to everyone.
Okay.
So once you guys are confirming, and I'll add to group, so
Yeah,
I'll share all these things. And one more point, guys, why everyone is using Azure Data Factory. If you want to run your 100 GB data, and to execute this 100 GB data, to extract this 100 GB data from your on-premises and load into SQL database, and with the 200 Mbps speed, Microsoft Azure service, I mean ADF service, Microsoft is charging only $0.40. Okay, so this is very cheap when compared to other ETL tools available in market, and this is one of the advantage. And to process 100 GB of data in a Spark cluster or any in Azure environment, it took only 12 minutes to load the data and in a destination, and Microsoft is charging very less. Okay, so even for time complexity, if you can see what is the performance, everything would be able to it's very fast when compared to other ETL tools. Okay, so there are some high performant hybrid integrators are involved here. So what is high performance connectors? Currently 90 plus connectors ADF services providing. You can connect any on-premises systems, guys. You can connect to your Oracle server, you can connect to your SQL, you can connect to your SQL databases, you can connect to your another cloud like AWS, DynamoDB, Amazon S3. Okay, you can connect to any service. Okay, there are many connectors we have. You can connect to your Salesforce, you can connect to your mainframes, you can connect to your SAP. There are many connectors like this. So I'll be able to show you once we started exploring on Azure Data Factory, creating this components and everything. So yeah, so
and
at this
also
point
service.
of time, terminology is new, guys, but going forward you can understand. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, service APIs also you are going to cover, right?
Service APIs.
Yeah.
Service APIs in the sense like logic apps.
Yeah, like that. Like that. I mean, say for example, if some connect, I mean, if you are going to connect some other application, client application, So we should use some service API, right?
So this is if you want to connect to any applications, guys. For example, if I want to connect any website, okay. So I want
Correct.
to create HTTP connections. So I'll be able to explain these things. So how do you connect to the website and how do we read the files from the website? That you can see in going
Endpoint
forward.
maybe.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
many connection endpoints here. So authentication methods, managed identity, service principal, account
Correct.
key. So there are many things, guys. Going forward, you should aware all these things. Okay.
So
So
entirely
how
45 days.
secure you are connecting your sources? Sorry,
Entirely 45 days, right?
correct. So you should be able to understand all these things going forward. So maybe once I started practical sessions, so you should be able to understand what we are doing exactly. Okay.
And another thing is like, I created a student. I mean, even I'm working in TCS. I have my junior. I have some rapport with my juniors, and I asked them, their student email ID, so that
Uh-huh.
I got 1 year free subscription and 100 credit. If you don't have any a credit card, in this way you can it would help. I mean,
Yes, yes, yes. That's great actually. I mean, when compared to student, this Azure free account we have $200 credit, right? But in student it's compared to $100, I think, right?
bad thing
Hello.
is Databricks Plus only eat many credits.
Okay. And now Databricks, even Databricks also we have a free trial, 15 days free trial. You can utilize that.
Yeah. So
So
instead
Microsoft
of
will not be able to charge anything on that.
one last question, I mean, Databricks, we can practice by Jupyter Notebook also, right?
Yes. Jupyter Notebook, but we can be able to real time. We can be able to use this Databricks notebooks only that we are going to create in Databricks workspace, and we are going to practice that.
Yeah, practice I mean.
Yeah. So real time, we are going to use the Databricks notebook instead of Jupyter one. We are going to use the Databricks notebook in many projects. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I'll wind up the session, guys. So we can connect again tomorrow same time 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay. So please ping me everyone, guys. So if you are interested, and so tomorrow onwards we have the regular sessions. So we'll continue with that.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye everyone, guys.